So we talked about yesterday. Let's see. It um, went through kind of the ins and outs of me, which is good, bad, or indifferent. I hope you enjoy some of my experiences. We have a few things that we kind of went over and talked about. I did email all of you and your parents both, just to say, hey, we made it through the first day, giddy up. And then I do have all my lectures and stuff on online, and I record the lectures. Yeah. And so I think the recording of stuff and putting it for you all, I think is a very valuable tool. And I just want to quickly run through. Let's see. Welcome. Did you remember seeing? Yes, most of you did. Get it last one. And then there's some problems up here that you need to see, so we'll be able to go over that. So we'll take care of that in a few minutes. I just want to run through real quick just the process of where would you find my information. So you're gonna have to log on to My Cherry Creek. If you're new to the district and you're just not sure, we will get you up to date. Don't allow us to move too far advanced. So once you log into your information, there you all have tiles, and you remember down here you might have different places to go, but you're logging on to where Schoology is located. And once you open up Schoology, you can go, and I think yours is about the same, but you can go under Courses. Don't do that. All right. What am I doing wrong? Go into Courses, and then go under CP Algebra 1. And so a few things for you. The one thing that I want to show you, that's what your textbook looks like. So you need to get over to Bare Necessities to find it. It's number 536. Please don't make the mistake of buying the other book that is the Accelerated. So has anyone been able to buy this book as of yet? I got 1, 2, 3 of you so far. Was it easy enough to find? Did they have the Accelerated and this right next to each other just to mess up life? Because I could see that happening. But do you feel that you're good with the right book? Okay. So if you do buy a book and you're just not sure, don't unwrap it yet. Bring it back to, show me, and then I'll be like, yeah, and then we can unwrap it. Because if you unwrap it, then the bookstore can't refund you. And that's just their policy. I didn't make up those rules. Other things that are on here, we have the bell schedule. But here's where things start getting important, I feel. So notice here, it has video of CP Algebra 1. So this is yesterday's video of this class. So if you missed it, or you just want to go back to it, or you want to say, hey, look how cool this is, you can click on it, and it should open up. And more importantly as well, is here are the notes for the class, eventually. It's just trying to make a liar out of me, I think. Yes, I want to open. So it should come out as a PDF. I thought I saved it as a PDF. If not, I can go back and redo it. So the notes would be there. You can click on those. And then also the last thing is if you went to the videos. I noted that it can't be shown in the frame, but if you click on this, it should click over to YouTube. Yep. And lo and behold, if you do that, there it goes. And you could hit play and watch your entire video, or you could scan ahead. So those are important for me, for you to know, to be a part of, because I think it's valuable information, and I do it for you guys for a number of reasons. Close that one. Um, I explained yesterday, sometimes you might think, oh, look, there's a bug on the wall, and you watch it, and you watch it for a little too long, and you missed it. Does that mean that your body is broken? No, it means you're normal. I mean, there's many years ago, I was at the high school graduation, and how this particular school I was at did the high school graduations. You had all the graduates that sat in front of all of the teachers. Then the teachers were like in 2 or 3 rows of people. And it's an outdoor graduation. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I see this wasp, and it's kind of flying around. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And it landed on the lady's head in front of me. And I'm trying to make it work in my head, going, could I justify going bam on her head? And then I started thinking, well, what if it flies away before I smack the wasp? That'd be kind of hard to explain to the teacher. Why did you smack me on the head? But I don't know. It's just goofy stuff. So I'm looking at our worksheet from yesterday, and technically what I would do with this type of worksheet is I would come around the room and I would put a mark on it. Okay, I'm going to put a top, a middle, or a bottom mark. I will do that tomorrow. Okay. What I want to do is I want to make sure we feel good about how we go through some of these problems, and I will read you the answers. Now, it says here, no calculators allowed, and I will kind of give you a warning. Tomorrow, I will provide you a multiplication table if you would like one, but we want you to be able to do this without a calculator. And I know some of you say, well, I have to have a calculator because I just can't think. We're just trying to assess, and a multiplication table should satisfy that according to all of our compliances. So, bless you. So I'm going to do this in my head, and if I make a mistake, I'm sorry. I'll go back and correct it. But I think for problem number 1, I think I got an answer of -10. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and then if you need something, boom, stop there, and we'll work it out on the board, okay? Problem number 2, I have an answer of 15. Again, if your answer is not agreeing with me, either I made an error or you might have forgotten how to do something, and that makes you normal. And if I made an error, well, you guys already know I'm not normal, so that just kind of comes in. Number 3, I have an answer of 17. Number 4, I have an answer of -11. Number 5, I have an answer of 28. Number 6, I have an answer of +5. 7, we switched to multiplication now, is an answer of +20. 8, I have an answer of -24. 9, I have an answer of -12. 10 looks like we're multiplying 3 things together, so I have an answer of -30. Number 11, we have an answer of +50. And 12 looks like it's division, and I'm dividing by a negative. One term's negative, so I have an answer of -50. So of those first 12, is there anything that's sticking out to you that's like, dude, I'm out. I need help. I forgot. And I guess the big one is when you have this type of scenario. If you had like, you had 8 minus -3, something like that. And I think some of you are grabbing onto it, realizing you have the 2 negatives in a row. You do that. So this was just an example. This was not one of them on there. But that's something that you might have come across that might, stumble you up a little bit. And I will tell you this. Unless you are able to use one of those really big fancy calculators and able to know where to put parentheses in and things like that, these types of problems can't be done on a 4-function calculator to make it work correctly. Like if you had 5 minus -6, if you want 5 minus -6, it doesn't do it correctly. So, a calculator really doesn't help you on these types of problems. Again, if you had the real big fancy one and you realized how you put parentheses in and where you have the opposite key versus the minus key, subtraction key. Okay, oh shoot, number 13. Let's see, is any of these? Nope, none of those yet. Number 13, and that's plus. I think I have the answer of 3 for number 13. Did I do that right?
Yeah.
And again, I just did it in my head, and I apologize if I goofed it up. Number 14 looks like. Oh, shoot. So that's 36 minus 1. And then in parentheses, bless you, it's going to be negative 16, negative 12. Is it like that? And then I can start combining like terms, so I can combine that and that. So I get 36 minus 13, which is 23. So that's number 14. Oh, I almost forgot. Let me cover this real quick. Because someone asked yesterday, what's my policy on restrooms? You know your system best. If you have to go to the bathroom, I don't want you sitting there feeling uncomfortable. Please just, if you one at a time, don't have like 12 of you, woo, let's go. But if you have to use the restroom, and the closest restroom here is go out that door, go to the left. Or is that the closest one? Yeah, and you follow it around to the right. Go down that hallway to the right as you don't go down the stairs. Just go to the left, then go down the hallway to the right. And there's both the guys and girls restroom available. So please be aware of that. But if you need to use the restroom, again, you know your body best. Please take care of it. But if you're the kid who's going to be gone for 45 minutes every day because you're in the restroom, I do teach the medical class, and I have a gastroenterologist I could recommend for you. That's a GI guy, because if you're having that kind of issue, you might need to talk to a doctor. But just giving you a heads up. Again, you all know your body best. So I'm back to number 15 is where I was at. Let's see, I have 28, and I'm going to go divided by 14, divided by 2. A lot of you might be saying, well, why aren't you going all the way left to right? Why aren't you going 28 divided by 7? Well, the 7 times 2 is bracketed, so that gives you 14. Now if you take care of that, that's going to be 2. And then 2 divided by 2 gives you an answer of 1. And I didn't write the whole problem. I was just writing some of it down so you guys can take a look. Let's see. Number 16. What is 2 raised to the third power? What does that mean? 2 times 2 times 2. Good. So it's an exponent. So you have 2 to the third, which is 8. So you have to do that first. And then you're going to go 8 divided by 4. And 8 divided by 4 is going to give us an answer of 2. And then it gives us another divided by 2. So our answer to that is going to be 1. And then 17 has a little bit of a gotcha in it. And let me just, so 8 times 7 is that. And then I get minus this divided by 4. So 56 minus, this is not going to be positive. I'm squaring the 10. I'm not squaring a negative 10. And that's something later in the class we'll talk a little bit more about. But that's taking place. So the only thing being squared here is the 10 divided by 4. Order of operations would suggest we go ahead and take care of that first. So what's 25 divided, or I'll give you the answer. 100 divided by 4 is 25. And then you just do the arithmetic. So what does that give me? 31? Do that right? Yeah, I hope. And then let's see, number 18, order of operations would say multiply first, but the 8 plus 9 is grouped, so do that first. So I get 17 times 3. 17 times 3 is how much? 51. I'll go with that. Number 19, you have 3 plus 4 minus 8 in parentheses, and then whatever that answer is, you'll multiply by 10. So 3 added to 4 is 7. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. Negative 10 over 5 is negative 2. I know I went through that kind of quick, but does anyone need me to go back through that a little bit more? You want to see it? You good? All right. And then number 20, I have the 16 minus 18 in parentheses. Oh, wait, that's all. Hang on, let's just take a look at that real quick, because sometimes there might be a question on that. Let's see, I have 2, and then I have 16 minus 18 plus 8, and then the whole thing's over 8. So what part of this does it appear that we're going to do first? What do you think? Yeah. Yeah, you're going to take care of this math right here. But this kind of goofy math, isn't it? What does it do to the answer there? Makes it negative. Good. So how I would look at this is I have $16 in my pocket. I go to the store. There's something that I need to buy that costs $18. Do you have enough? No, you're $2 short. So that's why it's going to be a negative 2. So you get 2. That right there is going to give me negative 2 plus 8 over 8. And then we'll do the math here. That's negative 4 plus 8 over 8. So let me squeeze it in a little bit. So let's see, that's going to give me on top, what is negative 4 added to 8?
4.
4, good. And then 4 over 8, we've learned that reduces to fraction. A reduced fraction being 1/2.
0.5.
I'll go with 0.5. I like that, or 0.5. That's good. That's good. I mean, unless it tells you different. If it says leave it as a fraction, please leave it as a fraction. If it doesn't, I have no problem, goofing, going that way. So that was number 20. 21 looks like 27 divided by 3 is 9. 9 minus 12 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Number 22 looks like I have 5 minus 8. Ooh, hang on. Let me do number 22. There's something's going to take place that I want you to take a look at. So this is number 22. So I get 2 quantity 5 minus 8 quantity squared plus 20 minus 2 to the 3rd power. So our first thing that we're going to do here is we're looking at this and we're going to take care of what's in here. And that gives me that goofy answer. And then I have, this is just going to be negative 8. Does everyone feel comfortable how I just established that? Is there anything that looks a little goofy? All right, now, before we go forward in math, let me ask you, what number is being squared? What number is being squared? Yeah. What? The negative 3. Do you agree with that? So the negative 3 is actually being squared. And that's something that's a huge thing to recognize, is that is being squared. So that means I'm going to take negative 3 and multiply it times itself. I'm going to go negative 3 times negative 3, and that would give me what? What is it? Negative times negative is positive, so it gives me a 9, right? And that's something that a lot of students get caught up on, going, shoot, I missed out on that. Okay? That's a big gotcha in math. Now, here's where things get goofy. Just on a side note, if I had this, if I just had negative 3 squared like that, what number, in your opinion, is being squared? Is it the negative 3 or just the 3? What do you think on the screen? No, it's just the 3. It's not grouped. So this has to be grouped, meaning it would have to be in parentheses like that for that to happen. And that's the event that's taking place right there. And that's a big spot where kids get hung up a lot. Okay? So I just want to point that out. And anytime we come across that, I'm going to point it out a lot more in detail, and then you'll be like, dude, get it. That's awesome. Now you get to, you don't make those silly errors. There's one thing I've always disliked with math is sometimes you're working out a problem and you get one sign wrong, and you start missing points. You're like, but I knew that. And I know it happened. So to here, that's 28 minus 8. So this would give me an answer of 20. Everyone doing okay? Is my pace okay? Is my anything like that? All right, number 23, looks like we have a whole bunch on top and a whole bunch on bottom. On top, let's take care of what's on top first. I have 15 minus 13, which is 2, and then 2 plus 3 is 5. So I'm done with what's on top. That's 5. So this is number 23. We're working it out. And then let's go to the bottom. So I get 30 minus 40 is negative 10. And negative 10 added to 5 is negative 5. So I have this. What is this? What? I agree that 5 over 5 is 1. I agree right there. That gives me an answer of 1. But you have that negative down below, so negative 1 is indeed the answer. Good. And sometimes you look at that going, well, the negative's on bottom. The big part that you have to realize is if you had 5 over negative 5, that's the same as negative 5 over 5, which is also the same as the way textbooks write it as that. Those are all the exact same thing. Whether the negative's on the bottom, on the top, or in the middle. I don't know, us math people, we got goofed up. I don't know. Parents didn't like us or something. What number am I on?
24.
Thank you. 24 we have in parentheses, so 30 30 minus, so it's 30 subtract 6. So I get 30 subtract 6 divided by 2. So we took care of what was in the parentheses. What's my next step? What do you think? Should we subtract or should we divide? Yeah, divide. Yeah, we're going to divide first. So I'm going to get 30 minus, this divided is 3, so that yields me an answer of just 27. You feeling okay? Everyone happy? Anyone need to poke your neighbor in the eye just to make it funny? You might get in trouble for it, but I mean, still, I might laugh. All right. Let's see. We're still not to the one. It looks like for 25, 26, 27, we're replacing the variable with a number. So 25, it's going to get 2 times negative 3 plus 2 times 4. So that's going to give me negative 6 plus 8. So the answer to number 25 is 2. For number 26, we're going to have 3 times negative 3 minus 4. So 3 times negative 3 is negative 9 minus 4. So negative 9 minus 4, negative 13. And then 27, we are plugging a negative number in. So are we squaring a negative number? Yeah, we're putting it in place of the variable or the letter, right? So I have negative 3 squared. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. And then I have 4 squared, which is 16. So I get 9 plus 16. So I get an answer of 25 on number 27. We've just knocked out the entire front page of this. I went into pretty good detail. Okay? So give me thumbs up, thumb middle, thumb down. Where are you feeling? Thumb up. I'm just on the front page. Thumb up. Where are you feeling? Thumb up, thumb side. Okay? Perfect. I like it. All right. So, if you had a thumb side or thumb down, is there something you want me to go on a little bit more? No? Okay. So please make sure you stop me. And if I don't do, please understand, if I ever need to go back a page, so what? Let's go back. You know, I told you all yesterday, you know, I don't believe in having my cell phone on me ever, because if mine goes off, it's going to distract from your education, you know, and I expect the same respect from you guys, because it's going to take away from your education. But don't let me move forward and goof up your education if there was something you didn't get. I don't care if I have to explain it 10 times. All right, let's see. Number 28, we have a few variables and we're plugging things in. So number 28, let's just take a look at that. So I have the negative out front. My b value is 2. Oh, jeez, I already goofed that. I'm going to move to the next one. Number 28, we have negative. My b value is negative 6, and my a value is 2. So that's what I have so far. So on bottom, that's just going to give me an answer of 4. What do you think this negative negative is going to do? Yeah, it's going to become a positive, right? So I get 6 over 4, and this is a reduced fraction as 3 over 2. Now here's a big change from, if you're coming to me from middle school, leave your answers as an improper fraction, meaning bigger number on bottom. Don't change it to a mixed number. Trust me, it'll help you in later math classes. So if you change it to 1.5 or 1.5, you're totally fine. Please understand, I will always take the improper fraction as the answer. This, in my opinion, is a more correct answer than a mixed number. Okay? And I'm not trying to take away from your teachers of the past. I want you to know. So that was okay. And then 29. Let's take a look at 29. 29, we have a plus b, so I have 2 plus 2 times negative 6. So that's 2 plus negative 12, which gives me an answer of negative 10. And that reminds me, when you do get your workbooks, we do have the answers in the workbooks. I believe it's at the end of the section. It might be at the bottom of the second page. I can't remember how we created it. It was only 3 months ago that we revamped it, and I don't remember what we did. I'm sorry. So b squared. So this is going to be negative 6 squared minus 2 times a. Why did I put negative 6 in parentheses when the original problem just said b squared? The original problem was b squared minus 2a. So I don't have parentheses here, but I do here. Why? What do you think I'm doing? Yeah.
Because it's negative and it's taking the b's place.
It's taking the b's place, and by you putting the brackets in, you understand that it's going to be the negative 6x squared, not just 6. So that's going to give me 36 minus 4. That's 32. Okay? And then number 31, and if you ever need me to go back, I'm happy to go back. 31, we have the square root sign, and we have a squared, so that's 2 squared, plus, again, I'm putting this in parentheses because we're putting a negative 6 in place for b, so that'll tell us that we know that the negative 6 is being squared, not just the 6. So that's going to give me 4 plus 40, oh wait, 4 plus 36, I gave the answer, that's what they're, you know what, I know I have an eraser, but I'm being lazy. So I'm going to get a square root of 40 for an answer. And for now, let's just leave it as the square root. Yes, I understand some of you know where a square root key is on your calculator. You're like, sweet, I got 6.387221. That must be right. No, don't go there. Now you're checking on your calculator. Did you really just rough? No, I sometimes fib answers. 32, I'm squaring both a and b. So a squared is that. B squared is this. This squared sign, bless you, the squared sign is not going to affect that. It's not going to affect it. So I get 4, that still comes down, minus, and then negative 6 squared is positive 36. That's big to see. The negative in a row don't cancel each other out because the negative 6 is being squared first. And that gives me an answer of negative 32. Whew. Catch your breath for a second. And it looks like I covered this. I don't know who put this up, but did I answer your questions okay? Is that all right? Makes sense? All right, sweet. All right, number 33, we have the distributive property. So 33, and I normally won't work out every problem like this. I'm just trying to, we've been on summer break. A lot of you aren't thinking math yet, so I'm going to distribute here and here, so that's 8 minus 2x. Can I combine those together? No, they're unlike terms. So, I have something that has an x attached to it, and I have something that doesn't. I can't add or subtract them. 34. What am I distributing over the parentheses? That's a 2x, I'm sorry. All right, what does it appear I'm distributing over the parentheses? Shout it out, try it. Go ahead.
Negative 5 times 2.
Right.
Negative 10x plus
Minus, because the negative comes with it. There you go. So the negative 5 is being distributed over the parentheses. So make sure that comes with it. And it changes both those signs. Good deal. 35. Let's see. 3 plus 2, 4 plus 3x. Distribute the 2. I'm just going to go quick on this. Did I do that right? That's 11 plus 6x. And that's as far as you can go. Now some mathematicians will say, no, you need to have the variable first, then go down to the constant to make it in standard form. I don't care. Unless I tell you to put it in standard form, don't worry about it. But these are equivalent things. They mean the same thing. 36 has a little gotcha on it. So I have 6x minus 2, x plus 8. So I am indeed going to distribute over the parentheses. What does it appear that I'm distributing over the parentheses? Huh? Okay, I like it, what you're saying, but what precedes the 2 in this case? What's right before the 2?
Oh, 6x. Oh, negative 2.
The negative 2, yeah. See how that's a gotcha? So let's kind of, here, we'll make that in the fancy yellow, but that whole thing needs to be distributed, okay? So the negative 2 comes here and here. So the 6x comes along for the ride. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. And let's just pause there for a minute and absorb what happened. So the negative 2 has to be distributed. So it's negative 2 times x. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times positive 8 is going to be negative 16. Does that seem okay? I do indeed have like terms. Those are like terms. So 6x subtracting 2x gives me 4x. And then we get 4x minus 16. You can't go any further than that. Looks like 37, they're going to do it to us again. We have 22x minus 2, 3x plus 5 plus 12. Okay? Back of the room, somebody from the back, I don't care whom, what does it appear we are distributing over the parentheses? Yeah. The negative 2. Okay? All right, so let's distribute that over the parentheses. Here. 22x comes along for the ride, and I heard, yep, negative 6x, good. Minus 10 plus 12. Does that seem to make sense? Now, I realize I'm writing down all the steps because you're able to see the thought process that progresses with it. So that, someone asked me, how many steps do I want to see? I can't only see the thought process when it's here if you went from problem to answer, but I can see the thought process is here. So you need to show as much as the thought process that you comfortably need to. Yeah?
Why is there a minus between the negative 6 or the 6x and the 10?
Great question. Oh, let's see. So you're okay with this one, right?
Yeah.
So I'm distributing the negative 2 here. Negative 2 times 5, negative 10. Or I could have made it plus negative 10. That means the same thing. So plus negative 10, reduction of signs means minus or subtract 10. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? All right. 22, if we combine those together, that's going to give me, what is that?
16.
16x, thank you. And that gives me plus 2. There's our answer. Oh, boy. 38. I'm distributing half over the parentheses. So if I distribute half here and half here, what's half of 8? 4. What's half of 8a?
4a.
4a, yeah. What is half of 24? 12. And then we have the minus 16 that comes along. Combine like terms, right there's my like terms. Done. Yeah, baby. What do you think? Yeah. We good? That's up to 38. So, that's all kind of the pre-algebra. What you saw from probably 3rd or 4th grade up through middle school, maybe even your freshman year if this is your sophomore year, which is okay. That's everything so far. What do you think? Then we get into something called one-step equations, and then we get into something called a two-step equation. Agree? Isn't that the directions of the next two? So one-step equation means I have one thing to do, one mathematical operation to do to each side of the equal sign in order to get the answer by itself. Now, a lot of times with one-step equations, we can easily look at it and say, oh, I can do this in my head. Two-step equations, sometimes you're at that point, and then when you get to multi-step, it really gets tough. But I'm going to mimic just so I can't do all these in my head. So 39, I have x plus 5 is equal to 12. So that basically means, as a number sentences, what number added to 5 would give me 12? And most of you would be like, oh, well, 7 plus 5 is 12. You're totally right. How I like to see the thought process on this is I'm going to make a dotted line, not that one. That dotted line is going to represent the equal sign. Everyone still with me in this adventure? What I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other in order to keep it balanced. All right, so these are being added, so I would subtract 5 from both sides, and you're going to get x is equal to 7, which we could do that. But that's the math that's taking place. That's the thought process that's taking place. Do I expect you really to show that? No, I just want you to start being aware that you have something equals. That means it's balanced. It's the same on one side as the other. And then number 40, let's see, I have this. So this means what number times negative 5 would give me 30? And a lot of you say, oh, that's easy. It's negative 6. That's fine, but let's do this. This is my equal sign. So what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. The 5 and the x are being held together by multiplication. And what undoes multiplication? What would you think? Division, absolutely. So I'm going to divide each side by negative 5. So those cancel out. And I get x is equal to 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6. And again, that's what we just said. (41), we have 8 plus x is equal to 6. So this says, hey, what number do we have to add to 8 to get to 6? And sometimes that gets a little goofy. I will tell you that the answer is negative 2. But let's make sure we can make that work. So that's my equal sign. So I'm going to subtract 8 because it's a positive 8. I have to make it opposite. So bring it to the other side. So those cancel. So I get x is equal to 6 minus 8, which is negative 2. Does that seem okay? That's a one-step equation. You had to do one mathematical operation on both sides to get the variable, which is the letter by itself. It doesn't always have to be x. It can be any letter. And then 42, this is called a two-step because there's two mathematical operations. So my first thing, draw my dotted line. That represents the equal sign. So I'm going to add 4 first to both sides. That gives me 3x is equal to 12. What kind of problem is 3x equals 12 now? Is it a one-step? Yeah. And what do you think?
You can divide 3.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Perfect.
To get the remainder.
X 12 over 3 is 4. Perfect. Good deal. There you go. I don't know what that is. Where am I? 43. So 5 minus x equals 12. So let's put my, bless you, put that. I'm going to do the opposite of 5. Yellow is really a bad color for me to write with. I'm sorry. Those cancel, so I get negative x is equal to 7. Oh, shoot. What do you think that means? What's making x negative? A negative sign. Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide each side by negative 1, because that won't change anything other than that. There's your two-step equation. That means if I were to take that number and plug it back in for x, it would still work. Yeah.
I have a question. So even if the positive number is bigger than the negative number, which is smaller, it would still be negative for an answer, right? So
So watch this. If I were to take this negative 7 and plug it in here, I get negative 7. Negative 7 is positive 7. So then 5 plus 7 is 12. That's why it works. Is that all right? Did I answer your question? Cool. 44. Oh, boy. 44. Guess what we have? We got the F word. Fractions. It's there. Sorry about that. All right, so let's see if we can manipulate this without hurting ourselves too much. So I'm going to subtract 1/2 from both sides. So that cancels. That's easy over there. So I get 2a is equal to 7 minus 1 is 6, so I get 6 over 2. So 6 over 2 reduces to 3. And then bring this down a smidge. Let's keep that going. Divide by 2. And so I get a equals 1.5, or I said you can also leave it as an improper fraction of 3 over 2, or 1 1/2, or whatever. But again, I like that answer there. So 45, let me just verbally talk through number 45. Even though the x is on the opposite side, it appears that I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Agree? So if I subtract 3 from both sides, I'm going to get, on the left side, I'll get negative 9. equals 3x. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So then I'm going to get negative 9 over 3, which is negative 3 equals x. So I get negative 3 equals x. I could flip it over and make x equals negative 3. Did I explain that okay? Anyone want to see that one worked out? Happy to do it. Just wanted to walk you through it. 46, sometimes it looks a little goofy. I would say multiply both sides by 5 first. So then you get x minus 3 equals 10. And then you add 3 to both sides, so then you get x is equal to 13. And then number 47, I would subtract 14 first. So negative 5x equals negative 35, because negative 21 minus 14 is negative 35. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. So x equals negative 35 over negative 5. Negative over negative is positive, so the answer to number 47 is 7. Guys and girls, I want you to take this home. I want you to study it because I am indeed giving you your first quiz tomorrow based on this. I will provide a multiplication tablet for you that should help you quite a bit. Did I teach okay? Yeah. Yeah, oh, thank you. So tomorrow, I would like you to bring me your summer package. You'll turn it in tomorrow. If you don't have it, you need to see me. And best way to do this is if you go on to Schoology or email me or see me, I will make sure you get it. So some of you might need a little bit of extra time on that. So, we all good? Everyone happy? Did anyone see anyone trip and fall yesterday and you pointed and laughed?
No.
Oh, shoot. It's okay if you're that cruel. I don't hold you against it. Guys and girls, I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. Homework, just study.